Thank you for joining with me. We are in A Course in Miracles, Workbook for Students, Part 1 of the workbook. Lesson 124. Let me remember I am one with God. Today we will again give thanks for our identity in God. Our home is safe, protection guaranteed in all we do. Power and strength available to us in all our undertakings. We can fail in nothing. Everything we touch takes on a shining light which blesses and which heals. At one with God and all the universe, we go our way rejoicing. It's beautiful. Acts 8:39. And when they came up out of the water, the Spirit of the Lord caught up Philip. And the eunuch saw him no more and went on his way rejoicing. So, at one with God and all the universe, we go our way rejoicing, with the thought that God Himself goes everywhere with us. How holy are our minds, and everything we see reflects the holiness within the mind at one with God and with itself. How easily do errors disappear and death give place to everlasting life. Our shining footprints point the way to truth, for God is our companion as we walk the world a little while. And with those who come to follow us, will recognize the way because the light we carry stays behind, yet still remains with us as we walk on. What we received is our eternal gift to those who follow after, and to those who went before or stayed with us a while. And God, who loves us with the equal love in which we were created, smiles on us and offers us the happiness we gave. Today we will not doubt His love for us, nor question His protection and care. No meaningless anxieties can come between our faith and our awareness of His presence. We are one with Him today in recognition and remembrance. We feel Him in our hearts. Our minds contain His thoughts. Our eyes behold His loveliness in all we look upon. Today, we see only the loving and the lovable. We see it in appearances of pain, and pain gives way to peace. We see it in the frantic, in the sad and the distressed, the lonely and afraid, who are restored to the tranquility and peace of mind in which they were created. And we see it in the dying and the dead as well, restoring them to life. All this we see because we saw it first within ourselves. No miracle can ever be denied to those who know that they are one with God. No thought of theirs but has the power to heal all forms of suffering in anyone in times gone by and times as yet to come as easily as the ones who walk beside them now. Their thoughts are timeless and apart from distance as apart from time. We join in this awareness as we say that we are one with God. For in these words we say as well that we are saved and healed, and that we can save and heal accordingly. We have accepted, and we now would give, for we would keep the gifts our Father gave. Today we would experience ourselves at one with Him, so that the world may share our recognition of reality. In our experience, the world is freed. As we deny our separation from our Father, it is healed along with us. Peace be to you today. 194. I skipped 193. I apologize. Honestly, I was thinking of people who had passed on. And I know it's not on this page. I'm just not thinking straight. But I was thinking of those who had passed on, like Brenda Ann and two of my uncles, my brothers, my parents. So got a little sidetracked. Today, we would experience ourselves at one with Him, so that the world may share our recognition of reality. In our experience, the world is freed. This means that our experience of being at one with Him, see previous sentence, frees the world. Peace be with you today. Luke 24:36. And as they thus spake, Jesus himself stood in the midst of them, and saith unto them, Peace be unto you. Secure your peace by practicing awareness you are one with your Creator as He is with you. Sometime today, whenever it seems best, devote a half an hour to the thought that you are one with God. This is our first attempt at an extended period for which we give no rules nor special words to guide your meditation. So I'll do a silent meditation for 30 minutes. 195. This practice period in which you have no rules nor special words to guide your meditation is a part of a long-range process in the workbook in which you receive fewer and fewer special instructions for each day's practice, and rely instead on your inner guidance, previous experience, and individual needs for the specific content of your practice periods. This lack of explicit instruction is echoed in tomorrow's lesson. Only be quiet. You will need no rule but this to let your practicing today lift you above the thinking of the world and free your vision from the body's eyes. Okay. And we will trust God's voice to speak as He sees fit today, certain He will not fail. Abide with Him this half an hour, He will do the rest. Your benefit will not be less if you believe that nothing happened. You may not be ready to accept the gain today, yet sometime, somewhere, it will come to you, nor will you fail to recognize it when it dawns with certainty upon your mind. This half hour will be framed in gold with every minute like a diamond set around the mirror that this exercise will offer you. I love that. The image here is that the practice period is a mirror set within a golden frame that is studded with 30 diamonds, one for each minute. In this mirror, you will look to see your own true face, the face of Christ. And you will see Christ's face upon it in reflection of your own. Perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow, you will see your own transfiguration in the glass this holy half hour will hold out to you, to look upon yourself. 197. Matthew 17:2. And he, Jesus, was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his garments became white as light. The above passage uses this as a symbol for what you will see. I should be holding on. As a symbol for what you will see happen to yourself as you look into the mirror. This holy half an hour will hold out to you. When you are ready, you will find it there within your mind and waiting to be found. You will remember then the thought to which you gave this half an hour, thankfully aware no time was ever better spent. Perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow, you will look into this glass and understand the sinless light you see belongs to you. The loveliness you look on is your own. Count this half hour as your gift to God, in certainty that His return will be a sense of love you cannot understand, a joy too deep for you to comprehend, a sight too holy for the body's eyes to see. And yet, you can be sure someday, perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow, you will understand and comprehend and see. Add further jewels to the golden frame that holds the mirror offered you today by hourly repeating to yourself, "Let me remember I am one with God, at one with all my brothers and myself, in everlasting holiness and peace." Thank you for joining with me, Lesson 124. And I'm going to pick up the reading by Alan Watson and Robert Perry. To practice and experience the idea that you are one with God, and to thereby lay hold of your own peace and also free the world. That's the purpose of the lesson. Today is a turning point in the workbook, your first half-hour practice time, and also your first longer practice in which you are given no instructions and are left to fly on your own, a preview of things to come. The practice is deepening and getting longer and less structured. So the practice, we have one long practice period whenever it seems best for 30 minutes. There are no specific words or guidelines for this meditation. You are simply meant to devote the practice period to today's idea, to abiding in oneness with God, to trying to experience that oneness and letting His voice direct your practicing. Jesus is clearly trusting that you have learned enough from the lessons thus far to spend this quiet time profitably, without getting hopelessly lost in mind wandering. You therefore should draw upon all the training you have received up until now, and should also be open to the Holy Spirit's promptings during this time. So I'll do a guided meditation, but basically it'll be just a timed meditation, and I'll just start it with a prayer. Encouragement to practice. Paragraphs 9 to 11 are there to provide incentives to really do the practice and to appreciate how important it is. They teach us to see this half hour as a mirror surrounded by a golden frame set with 30 diamonds, one for each minute. During this half hour, we will look into the mirror and see our face transfigured into holy, the face of Christ, our true self, who is at one with God. In this mirror, we will recognize ourselves as who we really are. Even if nothing of the kind seems to happen during this time, we can be confident that sometime, perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow, this experience will come to us as a result of this half hour. So frequent reminders are hourly. Repeat, "Let me remember I am one with God, at one with my brothers and myself, in everlasting holiness and peace." Doing so will yet add more diamonds to the frame around the mirror in which you see your true self. I suggest either memorizing this sentence, which is composed of 3 lines of iambic pentameter, or writing it down on a note card. I also recommend that while repeating it, you try to feel each kind of oneness individually. First oneness with God, then oneness with your brothers, then oneness with your true self. And that's Robert Perry, and now we are going to read Alan Watson's commentary. This lesson holds forth a very high view. It comes from an elevated state of mind. Basically, in the first part of the lesson, it seems to assume we are enlightened already. And of course, from the perspective of this state of mind, we are. Enlightenment is but a recognition, not a change at all. If it is not a change, then enlightenment must mean recognizing what is always so. This lesson, then, is simply stating the truth about us, the truth that we have been hiding from ourselves. To pray, to give thanks for the truth as God sees it, the truth about us as He sees it, can be a very profitable exercise. Try taking a paragraph of this lesson or the whole lesson and turning it into thanksgiving, verbalizing your thanks as you read it. For example, from the second paragraph, I might say, "Thank you for the holiness of our minds. Thank you that everything I see reflects the holiness of my mind, which is at one with you and at one with itself. Thank you for being my companion as I walk this world, for the privilege of leaving behind shining footprints that point the way to truth for those who follow me." This indeed is our calling. It is why we are here. Perhaps most of the time we don't remember our identity in God. All the more reason to set aside a day given to remembering, for reminding ourselves. We could understand this lesson as a portrait of an advanced teacher of God. Everywhere she walks, light is left to illuminate the way for others. The teacher walks in constant awareness of God's presence. She feels God within. God's thoughts fill her mind, and she perceives only the loving and the lovable. This teacher of God heals people in the past, the present, and the future at any distance. Slip into that mindset for a while today, my heart. Be the Christ. Let all the obstacles to it that your mind throws up be brushed aside. Practice awareness of oneness with God. In the latter part of the lesson, it is clear that the author hasn't flipped out and isn't living in a dream world. He knows very well that we might sit for our half hour and get up thinking that nothing happened. He knows that for most of us, what he is talking about is so far from our conscious awareness that we might devote 30 minutes to trying to recognize it and not find a glimmer of it. He doesn't care. He doesn't care because from where he sits and how he sees, he knows with total certainty that what he is saying about us is the truth. And he tells us not to let it bother us. You may not be ready to accept the gain today. Yet sometime somewhere it will come to you. Nor will you fail to recognize it when it dawns with certainty upon your mind. Even though we experience nothing, he tells us that no time was ever better spent. The practice for today of a single half hour given to remembering oneness is unusual in the workbook. The routine goes back to 2 15-minute periods or 3 10-minute periods in the coming days. But what is more significant, actually, is the lack of rules and special words to guide your meditation. He is leaving us on our own today. If we have been doing the exercises all along, we should have a pretty good idea of some of the techniques we might want to use. And we can use any of them, or anything that comes to us. Actually, he isn't leaving us on our own. He's leaving us in the hands of God's voice, our inner guide. Ask how to spend this half hour of meditation and listen to what comes to you. Abide with him this half hour. He will do the rest. You can be sure, someday, perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow, you will understand and comprehend and see. Thank you, lovely, for joining with me. Lesson 124, let me remember I am one with God, and I thank you, God. I love you.